Hello, everybody. My name is Jack from Manelli Studio Entertainment, and I'm here to give you another video review. Today, I'm reviewing the 1965 Yakuza classic Blood of Revenge, provided by our friends over at Radiance Film. Now, again, like I say, with all my reviews supplied by me from the distributor or from the people providing it, all my views and opinions are my own. I am not obligated to enjoy or like. I just have to tell you if I like it or not, or I would recommend you pick it up, watch it, or enjoy it or not. So before I get on with the review, I have to say sorry to everybody. My Japanese is not so good, and as my English would just demonstrate. So I'm sorry when I butcher or try not to say the name of said Japanese, say, organization or character name, because I don't want to embarrass myself even more, and furthermore, I don't want to insult the great people of Japan by me saying the names. I will try to say some names, but I will try my best to avoid names if possible. So with that being said, let's get on with the review. Blood of Revenge is a Toei, I don't know Toei Studios, is it Toei Studios film, and they are very, like, you know them, right? They did all the Japanese, obviously Japanese, but all like the samurai films of like back in the day, the G.I. Geki films, and by the 60s, the G.I. Geki film was going away of the dodo. Actually, just like the American cowboy film, so they had to pivot to something. And what did they pivot to? Yakuza films. Specifically, like, honorable Yakuza films. So if you are a fan of Ken Waranara, I'm sorry again, the Battles Beyond Humanity guy, director of Battle Royale, this film is right up your alley. So right there, I recommend this film, Blood of Revenge. Blood of Revenge is directed by, looking at my notes here, Tai Kato. Tai Kato, I don't think I've heard of him before. I think I've seen one film prior to this, maybe. He does have other films in the Radiance collection that I can't wait to watch. But Tai Kato has an amazing style for this film, for Blood of Revenge, and I can't wait to talk about that later. The film stars Kenji Sutara as Azuro. Azuro is like the assistant to the number 2 to the head Yakuza guy in the film. And the head Yakuza guy, again, I'm not going to try to pronounce his name, at the beginning of the film, which has this beautiful sequence. The Japanese have such a long, like credits at the beginning, and they're usually not translated, so I usually just fast forward through them. And I was about to do that here, but then like the film starts with the credits rolling still, and you see this beautiful sequence of these 4 men with bowls. I'm guess put sake in them, and they drink it, and then they get on top of these drums, and people lift them up, and I guess they start to fight. And I wasn't too sure. Again, culturally, this film doesn't not only take place in Japan, but it also takes place in the year of like 1908. So yeah, I don't know what's really going on, but it's this beautiful sequence. It's like a festival, and you see the head of this Yakuza family get stabbed in the back. And that kind of sets off the events of the film. So that Yakuza family, I'm not going to pronounce the name, is trying to go legitimate. They have a concrete business, and they work on they supply concrete to construction sites, and they're trying to go legitimate. But as in other Yakuza things, not trying to just take over territory, but the territory of the legitimate business. So I know you're gonna have to follow me with this, guys. I'm sorry, I just can't say these names, and they all start with K too. So it's very difficult for me. So the head of the Yakuza, of the good Yakuza people, who is very like Don Corleone like, but instead of Don Corleone's like hard stance on drugs, this Yakuza boss has a hard stance on gambling. They do not like gambling, which is what becomes of the Yakuza after this. Right after this, they are gambling dens. They are doing that game where there's like you get the lotus, or like the like the domino type thing, and you try to match it with it. Right? If you saw Pale Flower, it's kind of like that, right? They become degenerates, and he's like, I don't gamble. No, none of my men gamble. So like he's very honorable, and again, this is the honorable Yakuza films. So he gets attacked, and his son, Haruto, I think that's the name, something like that, begins with an H, I believe. Haru wants to just go fight, fight. Let's kill the people who did it. But the father and the assistant, again, who's the main character, Ashuro, our star, is like, no violence, right? We're not violent, not anymore. And that kind of is the overall theme of the film, of being said, okay, like the Yakuza are kind of different than, say, Italian mafias or like stuff like that, or gangs, because they get these tattoos, right? So no matter what, no matter if they ever went legitimate, they can never get rid of their tattoos. They like a tiger can't get rid of his stripes, a Yakuza can't get rid of his tattoos. So they will always be reminded of their Yakuza lifestyle and their criminal past, and they will always have it, like it would always be brought up again. So, and that's like Ajuro's pathos for the film, right? He wants to be an honorable man, but it's difficult because people want him to be the Yakuza, or thinks he's that Yakuza. Even if he's not that man, they think he is that man. And this whole film that plays on that honor, and how some people have that fake honor. So they get their construction, their concrete business gets attacked and gets rid of all their concrete. So they're gonna maybe lose their license, and so they go bend the knee to the rival, who is technically a legitimate businessman, but really isn't, and he's in with Yakuza gangs, but he's respectable, right? And this really was shocking to me, because he dressed Western, right? He dressed like a Westerner. He doesn't dress up as everybody else, right? He's definitely a capitalist, dressed as a capitalist, and that's really great subtle storytelling. And that happens again later in the film, where it's like this beautiful wide, super wide shot of somebody's house, but you're seeing a lot of like English things there. You see like a knight's armor in the corner, right? And that's so deliberate, right? That's telling you something without telling you something. That's just visual storytelling at its finest, and I love it. So Ajuro bends a knee to this guy, and this guy's like, yo, if your company's no longer Yakuza, I'll give you the cement, even though he just screwed them over. And he screwed them over because he wants that contract, the contract of the concrete. And so essentially the rest of the film was Ajuro living his life, trying to help the organization with the leader dying. Eventually does die. And in the course of that, he helps this woman who's a prostitute, who is being harassed by, I think his name was Kurosawa, and I wonder if that's a stab at the great Akira Kurosawa, but I will never know that. And he falls in love with this prostitute. he falls in love, and she falls in love with him. And the prostitute's name, looking at my notes, her name was Junko Fuji, who, again, it becomes a big deal later on. And I've never seen her and stuff, but she was a fantastic role. And so when the Yakuza leader dies, and Ajura takes on the role as boss, but only of the Yakuza portion. He not lets, but he accepts that the son of the boss, who is this young, rash, anime protagonist, like, look, you'll be in command of the legitimate business. You will be legitimate. I will inherit your father's darkness, the criminal organization. You will inherit the business, and you will prosper, and you will become greater for it. I will take I will take the sin, right? He's taking the sin. So when he inherits the sin and goes to that guy, say, hey, remember when you said the organization's not criminal? Hey, look, they're not criminal. I'm criminal. They're not criminal. So give him the Samet. And the guy does, but then they screw him over and they give him fake Samet. And again, it's all this Japanese honor. Like, when you're disrespected, you can't just spit in the face and say, hey, I know you disrespect me. You basically got to play it out. You got to be like, I know I was wronged, but I accept the responsibility that I was screwed over, and I will try to fix it. And even go to the person who screwed me over and try to get the stuff from them, and then get screwed over again by the same person. Like, it's this honor base. And when you are the most honorable person, usually, hopefully, you end up on top, but sometimes the honorable person will go down, but the dishonorable person will also go down, right? That's also in, like, Game of Thrones stuff, right? If you're an honorable person, you're probably going to lose. But in this case, the honorable person, the old boss who dies, gets assassinated, and Ajuro takes on the role, and it looks like their life will get better, but then they get dragged down to the Yakuza business. Haru's, he finds out the prostitute that he fell in love with was actually in love with the bad guy, and he gets shamed, right? Shamed and laughed at. And there's this drifting Yakuza guy who is, again, like an anime protagonist, comes in and helps, and he's a great character, and he ends up dead because of the altercation. And I want to bring back to a scene. One of my favorite scenes of this film is when Ashuro is seeing his lover, or not his lover, but a woman she falls in love with, the Fuji, Miss Fuji, and Kurosawa comes into the scene and is like, that's my woman, get away from my woman. And then the drifting Yakuza guy comes in, and he's on the other side having fun with the geisha, and he comes in, he's holding a gun right here, and he takes it out, and he puts one bullet in it. And I thought they were going to play Russian roulette, but no, they point the guns at each other. But the drifting Yakuza knew that Kurosawa was going to cheat, so he doesn't even put the bullets in it. So Kurosawa fires all the guns, and he's like, screw you guys. You're going to rue the day you mess with me. And they kind of do, but they kind of, Ajuro gets the last laugh, because he after his family gets screwed over again, he basically goes back to his Yakuza lifestyle, takes off his clothes, his tattoos are full in force, he's jumping on the trains, he's like, again, an anime protagonist. He jumps from a train to another train, through a window, in a room of guys who are armed to the teeth, and he goes loose, and he starts killing people, pop, 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 pop. And he gets the bad guy, and then Kurosawa starts to run, and he chases after Kurosawa because he gotta save his love of his life. This is the person screwing the love of his life over, and he goes and he takes care of business and gets arrested. I just spoiled the whole movie, but I still highly recommend you watch it because you may know the ending, but you don't know the journey. It's a beautiful looking film. I I don't know the cultural relevance of the film. I know it's important. I know it's a start, but like, if you go online, go on Letterboxd, you'll find people saying it's a masterpiece. It's all this is that. I don't know if it's a masterpiece. I'll give it like a 4 out of 5 stars, which means it's great, which means I love it, which means I recommend it. I don't know if it's a masterpiece. No, what I do say is a masterpiece is the direction of Mr. Kuto, and I really loved his low angles. I really loved his close-ups, and I really loved his long takes. Right, they're beautiful long takes, beautiful close-ups with all this bokeh around. Looks very modern. The transfer of the film looks gorgeous. Absolutely love the colors of the film. I was breathtaking through most of it. There's some shots that look straight out of a painting that I recommend you look up right now. It's a beautiful painting shot. The one specific, or where it's Fuji walking on like these bricks, and you see the sunset behind her, and then her feet are just in focus. It's this gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous shot, and Kuto is not afraid to have, say, weird frames. Like, he'll have someone like all the way over here, or like the head all the way over here, or the head all the way over here. Plus, with these close-ups like this, like it's as an American, I who loves genre fiction, it is unorthodox, but it works, and it's one reason why I love Japanese films, and I love Japanese genre fiction, because even though it's some of it, not this one in particular, but most of it or some of it is like schlocky, like the Lone Wolf and Cub, or I don't know, other films of that ilk. They're so beautifully made, and it makes them into, elevates the film, unlike, say, the schlocky B films of America in, say, the 60s and 70s. I'm not saying they're bad, not at all. They're beautiful films, great films, but beautiful not in the, wow, look at that. Beautiful in like, wow, I can't believe this was made. This is a good film. Wow, this is a beautiful film. A beautiful film that everybody should watch just because of that. It is probably a film that you can watch with the sound off. I think it's that the story can be told just with the pictures. And I love it. And again, I love it. I don't think it's a masterpiece. I don't think Blood of Revenge is a masterpiece, but it's a wonderful film, and I highly recommend. And I thank Radiance for not only providing the film to me, but to everybody else. I would highly recommend you pick it up. I recommend almost everything Radiance has put out. I have given not a negative review, but when I reviewed the Shinobi Volume 1, I didn't give that a glowing review because I felt like there's stuff I was just missing. And again, it was a beautiful look. All three of them were beautiful looking films. But so I feel like anytime I talk about Radiance, it's just going to be like a blind recommendation. But that's the type of company they are. They're going to, just like, say, Criterion, they release super interesting and important films that people out in the West, like myself, don't know about. And they're not just, Japanese films. There's French films, Italian films, Dutch, Polish, all these films that they release that the world, at least my world, wouldn't have known. So thank you, Radiance, again for such an amazing film, and keep doing what you're doing. I know I'll keep watching. I know I'll keep reviewing. I know I'll keep recommending. These are films just like The Illustrious Corpses or Yakihama BJ Blues that people need to see, people need to experience, and people need to show more love to. But yeah, guys, I'm Jack from Manelli Studio Entertainment. I do films reviews like this. If you haven't seen my Illustrious Corpses review, check that out somewhere here. I also do other videos, say on comic books, on anime, on manga, video games. So check those out. Please hit that subscribe button and hit that thumbs up to make me feel good and help the algorithm. And comment down below your favorite Yakuza film. I don't know what mine is, gun to my head, probably Tokyo Drifters. Yeah, probably Tokyo Drifters. And yeah, guys, thank you for watching. Thank you for watching. So again, my name is Jack from Manelli Studio Entertainment saying, watch more Japanese films.